Hi guys, Joe Kelly here from the Instinctive Actors Society. I hope you're doing well. If you're not part of the Instinctive Actors Society, you can join it. I've put a link in the title up there. And today we will talk about a new topic. Let me get the tech going on all sides. Yes, our topic today is why do some actors book all the time, right? So if you haven't joined the Instinctive Actors Society, join it now, because this is where the discussion is going to happen, and you'll get to ask your specific questions, you'll get to view the recordings and other discussions. And if you are in the Instinctive Actors Society, I've put a link to join the Instinctive Actors webinar, which is free. You can get on the wait list for the moment, which really covers how to untie what is really preventing you from being completely instinctive, in the zone, free, yummy, flowy, all of that good stuff. Okay, so let's get back to the topic of today. Why do some actors book all the time? And when I start working with actors, I often hear that, right? And they'll say things like, well, this actor looks like me, and every time I go to an audition, I see him and he ends up booking. Or she's always booking because she's thinner, or she's juicier, or she's blonder, or taller, or smaller, or her nose is like this, or she's too sexy, or more sexy, or less sexy. And I think you start to get the picture. Oftentimes when we compare ourselves to other people, it feels like they always have what we're missing. And then you'd compare yourself to someone else, or someone else would compare themselves to that same person, and they would want the exact opposite of that. So there really is nothing to gain in going in that direction. There's no power there. But that is definitely understandable, that you might think, well, I am in the same industry and some people are booking more. So what is it that they're doing, right? So that's what oftentimes I hear actors who start working with me trying to figure it out. And again, I really want to, if you haven't been in the Instinctive Actors webinar, which was previously called the Magnetic Actor webinar, but it's been rebranded, I really invite you to sign up for that. Hi, Carrie. So that you can start to get to see what is in between you and that freedom that is yours, but what's in between, and how can you start working on that? Okay, so if we come back to the situation, which is why do the same people book all the time? Well, I want to say one thing. So I think I've just said this in another group, and it's probably because I was sitting in my office. I like doing that. Well, there's flowers growing in my garden. I was sitting in my office this morning because I wake up really early, and then I like to kind of leave the family bed and come into my office, and I get to see the sun come out. I'm going to turn off my emails. Sorry about that. I get to see the nature going crazy. And I meditate, and I, spend some time with myself. And this morning there was this squirrel who was going up and down. And I think it's every morning, but for some reason this morning I noticed it more. Going up and down the tree and, eating super fast. And next to that, there was this bird who was kind of hovering around and in the flow and kind of landing on a branch and then popping on another. And it was really moving to me that the squirrel doesn't try to fly, right? And the bird doesn't try to climb up and down the tree and eat some nuts like that. It really doesn't. They're just perfectly who they are in two total different natural aspects of their aliveness. They're just completely different, and they're not trying to be like each other. And what is interesting is I think that humans really do try to be like each other. They feel a certain way, and they think, oh, okay, well, I should not feel this. I should feel what they feel, right? And so when we watch an actor or an actress that is booking a lot, the tendency for actors is to try and figure out what they do that works. And when you do that, you're really kind of trying to do something that's impossible. You're trying to be a squirrel and you're not a squirrel. And so there would be nothing for you in trying to do what they do, because there is no method to any art. There is no way. There is only your way, right? So I hope you can relate to my squirrel and bird analogy. I guess that tomorrow when I'll sit down and my coach at 5:55 a.m. and I'll look at the squirrel again and the bird, maybe I'll think that I'm not alone in my thoughts. So so there isn't what I was saying was there isn't a right way. Right or wrong doesn't even exist, because it's all invented in language by humans. Nature is just what it is, and that's what it is. So when, as an actor, you try and figure out what they are doing right so that you can do it too, you're really doing something that makes absolutely no sense. And again, I get it. It's kind of a natural reaction to the way that we have been wired and conditioned, right? Because we've been conditioned to trust everything that comes from the exterior and to learn from everything that comes from the exterior, and to not trust and be who we are. So whenever we're dealing with something or challenged by something, we look outside and we go, how am I supposed to? How should I? Because this is what we have been trained to do. And when you discover that there is only your way that is the way for you, it really is like such a huge discovery. It's a little bit like if you had been blind all your life and people have been talking about colors and you have no idea what they mean, and then suddenly you're not blind anymore because they find a cure for what you have and you see it, and then you go, oh my God, and then you go back to your community and you try to tell them what colors are, and they're all still blind, and they'll say things like, you're inventing this, you're making this up, you've gone crazy, because it's another world that is not even conceivable. So what I'm trying to say here is that when you find your way, your instinct, your uniqueness, there's really no words to describe that. That is what will make you work, because that is what makes you different from everybody else. That is what makes you alive. And alive is the hot commodity. That's what casting directors are looking for. So there's no point to try and figure out the right way. Is it the squirrel the right way, or is it the birds the right way? Well, there is no right way. There's just two different ways. Those are the ways. And the idea is, when you find your way, you discover something as big as what colors are for blind people. And it's very difficult for me to even find the words to explain it to you, just for the same reason as if I was no longer blind, going back to my community of blind people, trying to explain the colors, they'd be like, we have no idea what you're talking about, and you've gone crazy, and we don't believe you, which is probably what you're thinking about me right now, but it's fine, because the colors are there, and I know they're inside of you. I know your instinct is there. So I trust that when it's going to be the right time, you'll be ready to jump in those colors. So what to do in the meantime? Well, first of all, I mean, there is no Instinctive Actors webinar right now. It's a wait list, but sign up for that, because it's definitely a first step to really realizing why you are still dependent on thinking that there is a better version of you, thinking that there are better people, thinking that the exterior is going to give you the resources you need to fix yourself. There's nothing to fix. You're perfect like you are. And the only thing you need to do is to really be you. And you've been trained to not be you and to be like everybody else. So I know that, again, I'm asking you now, and I'm not giving you the path because we're not having, a lot of hours. I'm asking you not to do something that's impossible. But so if you sign up and get on that wait list for the Instinctive Actors webinar, we start going deeper into that for about an hour and a half. So that would be a first step. When you do this type of work and you get your instrument back, because it's really about breaking it all down and rebuilding it back up, like one of the actresses that I was working with was saying, Caroline, it's really breaking it down and building it back up. Once you have that, then you can start relying on you, not on what other people say or what other people do. You can actually be you, feel you, be your impulses, and therefore know that you can rely on that, because there's sufficiently and enough for a billion lifetimes of impulses and uniqueness and yumminess and desirable traits there's life inside of you, right? So when you do that work of working through your resistance and actually landing into your instrument, into the life that is and meant to be inside of you and meant to be lived, then you can rely on that. And then you really have to keep doing that, to keep taking care of that, to keep watering that, to keep climbing up and down your tree and eating your nut fast, or, opening your wings and flying, to continue to be who you are. If not, the rest of the culture and the society is still moving in a different direction for now, which is okay. That's what it's doing for now. But the opportunity as storytellers and actors is really to tap into that unembraced humanity that we have as artists, as actors, and to share that so that can impact people and can encourage them and enable them to just allow themselves to be just that too, right? So, so that's it. I think those are my notes. That's it for today. Let me look at the comments, if any. So, hey, Carrie, hey, Tessa, who says yes. And if you're joining this in the recorded version, hi, Michael. Bárbara de Lema, te echo de menos. So yeah, you can get in the Instinctive Actor Society and ask your specific questions and get into the discussions with each other and with myself deeply then on the Facebook group, on the Facebook page, sorry. So get in the Instinctive Actor Society. Michael says he totally agrees with what I just said. It's what it is. Sure, Michael, thank you too. Lily, hi, Sonia. Oh, okay. Michael has a question. What do you think, Joe, about this? I'm finding I just go through cycles. It's a vibe. When you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're not. I get booked when the vibe is right and don't when it's not. So I just stay ready and just let it happen when it does and don't sweat it when it's not. Just roll with it. Well, when you say when I'm hot and when I'm not, I think that you're talking about when you're feeling it, right? When you're in the vibe or in the flow, then it works out. When you're not, then it doesn't. But you're still giving it the meaning that being in the flow is good and not being in the flow is bad. So there's a better version of yourself and a less good version of yourself.
And let's try to change the context that I'm trying to put here is really
there's not a better or worse versions. Those two versions of you are as human as each other. Is that English? I'm not sure, but I think you know what I mean. Being in the flow, being out of it, are both very natural human experiences or sensations. And so you want to be able to be equally with one and the other, and to be able to give that to your character, to really just offer that. And that puts you back in a place of being present. what takes you out of being present and here and instinctive and in the zone is that you're judging the, oh, I'm not hot right now, as a not good enough human sensation. So you kind of quit in that moment. You drop the ball. What I'm saying is, when you do the work of really making friends with your instrument and getting rid of the resistances and really embracing your whole instrument and instinct, then all of it is good. It's just atoms moving around. That's all it is. None of it is better or worse. It's just what it is. So, and you might not be able to, you know, to get that until you train that to the bone, because it's really resetting your whole instrument to do that. But that's what it is. Okay, so I'm trying to, for some reason I can't get, I see that there's more comments, but I can't get to them. Let's see, Mickey. So if I'm missing your comment or your question, you can retype it if you don't mind, because Facebook is not allowing me to scroll over into the comments. Thank you, Tessa. Tessa agrees with everything I say. She's a good public for me. Carrie says, I'm still struggling with celebrating my strengths versus my imperfections. Yeah, there's decades of wiring in that direction, right? That you're reversing currently, and you're doing the work for it right now, Carrie. And it takes the time that it takes. It doesn't need to take time. It might take time. Again, it's not better or worse. It's just what it is. You don't want to be human. Yes, you might want to be a squirrel, but it won't work. You can try as much as you can. It won't work. Tessa says, presence, I teach yoga because I need to practice. Yes, yoga is a great practice for sure. All right, guys. So sorry if I'm missing some comments on both of the pages that I have open. Facebook is not allowing me to go up in your comments. So maybe Michael still has something I see, but I can't force my chemistry to coincide with casting if it's not there. But I see what you're saying. No, Michael, so no, you're not, you can't force your chemistry, but it really isn't about that. There is something about, but you haven't done that work. So again, it feels like I'm trying to explain colors to a blind person. So I'm just going to give it a try, and you're going to say, yeah, that's not true. You're making that up, and it's fine. But it isn't forcing your chemistry to fit into something else. It really isn't. Once you get to the energy level of it, and really just being able to get into the energy, not, oh, it's sad and I need happy, but just at the energy level, then you can take it and make it like really, it's not even, it's definitely not forcing the chemistry. It's just like, oh, just tilting it wherever you need it. And it's effortless. And it's powerful, and that's when I'm starting to say those words that if you haven't tasted it, you'll be like, she's making it up, and it's fine. It's ridiculous. It's just, there's no name to describe how easy and powerful it is, and you are inside, and how there is no forcing chemistry. It's nothing. It's nothing. Actually, really nothing. So, yeah. That's it. I will check tonight the comments because Facebook is resistant. It's not letting me do my work. All right. But thank you guys for today. I hope you have a great Thursday, and then a great Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Have a great weekend. And I will see you next week for more. Bye.